Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, The Black Accountant. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment of content that you want to see going forward. So today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about different ways you can kind of save on health insurance overall, because it does typically tend to be really costly. And at times we're paying to insurance companies that don't really have our benefit in mind, because we pay on a monthly basis. And at the end of the day, we don't really get back as much as we could from them, because as a young person, typically speaking, especially if you're not prone to medical illness or medical ailments, you're paying money to maintain health insurance that you're likely not going to use. And when it does come time to use the health insurance, there's a lot of stipulations that don't allow you to really capitalize on it or cover all of your expenses. So today, what I wanted to talk a little bit about are HSAs and HDHPs. So if you don't know what either of those two things are, you've kind of come to the right place. So an HDHP is a high deductible, high payment plan. So what that means is you're paying a very high deductible, typically a little bit more than your average individual. Right. So let's write out a high deductible. I'm not going to write out the whole thing just because my mouse is really laggy and I feel like it would take a really long time. So a high deductible means that you're going to be paying more out of pocket before your insurance kicks in. So let's say that your deductible is $1,400. Your deductible is high, but under these types of plans, typically speaking, your premium is going to be lower than average. So your premium is typically the amount of money that you pay to maintain your insurance so that you're a covered individual. So let's say that amount is $300 in this case. So under this type of plan, I'll be paying $300 a month for my premiums. And let's say as an individual, generally speaking, HDHPs allow me to cover different types of expenses, but typically speaking, they're more geared towards preventative care. So it's less so for when you're actually have an ailment, but more so for like checkups. Now, if you pair your HDHP with a health savings account, which is an HSA, then you're going to be paying this low premium while actually reaping several different benefits. So in order to have an HSA, you actually do need to be enrolled in a high deductible, high payment plan. And the minimum deductible that you need to have is going to be $1,400, which is why I used it as my example here. Okay, so let's say we decide to open an HSA and pair it with this. So under an HSA, which is a health savings account, I am enrolled in a high deductible, high payment plan, and I pay my $300 premium. Okay, I pay my $300 premium, and I have my minimum deductible plan, which is $1,400. So that means, again, a deductible means that you're paying up to $1,400 out of pocket for your expenses before your insurance kicks in. So now that I have an HSA, what that means is I can contribute as an individual up to $3,550 a year. Okay. So let's say I contributed $3,550 to my health savings account. And let's use 2021 as the example here. So, and just because in case you're wondering why I use $3,550 as the example here, this is $3,550 is the maximum contribution you can make as an individual to a health savings account per year. So I'm saving $3,550. this year. And I'm paying my $300 for my high deductible, high payment plan. And I don't expect to get sick at all throughout this whole year. So I've been paying $300 every month um, as my premium. So like just pretty much the cost to maintain my health insurance. And I contributed $3,550 this year to my HSA account. So this is just money that I put into my HSA. So this is money that I'm saving later when I expect to have medical conditions. So this year in 2021, the whole year passed, I didn't have any medical issues whatsoever. So all I ended up paying was my premiums to maintain my health insurance. And then 2020 rolls around and I deposit another $3,550 into my HSA because I want to make the maximum contribution possible. So the amount that I deposited into my health savings account last year, since I didn't use any of it, gets rolled over to the next year. And I just deposited the same amount. So now I have $7,100 in my HSA. And the best thing about this money is that it works in two ways to benefit you for tax purposes. Any money that you store in your HSA. Whatever I contribute to my HSA up to the maximum is considered an adjustment to my income. So what that means is, let's say in 2020, let's forget about like health insurance for a second. I worked at my job and I made $30,000 this year. And I contributed the 3,500 I was talking about earlier. So I can subtract that 3,500 from my taxable income before I say taxable income, from my gross income. So that right now we're trying to get to our adjusted gross income. So 30,000 minus 3,500 is going to be 26,500, right? So now I have $26,500 as my adjusted gross income, or my AGI. So what this means is this is the amount of money that I have right now subject to tax before deductions. So I haven't even applied a standard or itemized deduction to this. Once that happens, this amount drops even lower, and then I get assessed an even lower tax. So that's the benefit of that. I don't want to get a little bit too into it because then it just might become convoluted information, and that's the last thing we want. Let's see if I can erase this. So that's the benefit that you have for tax purposes. So any money that you put into your HSA is going to be considered untaxable income. But now let's say, like back to the regular example. So we contributed again $3,550 in 2022. So this is the second year that we've had our HSA open. And during this year, I actually do get sick. And my doctor prescribes me some kind of medication. And that medication, it costs me, let's say $100. Oof, go back to pen. So it costed me $100. So I'm paying my regular premiums. So I paid my $300 every month. Let's say this happened in December and I need to pay $100. I can use the money from my HSA to pay for this. And it also counts towards my deductible. So now I have 1,300 left that I would have to pay out of pocket during this year before my insurance will pay whatever other costs incurred. So let's say during the same month of December, I actually also get into a car crash, right? And that car crash leaves me needing a cast or whatnot. And let's say like I was deemed at fault and I have to pay all my costs out of my own pocket. Um, let's say that costed me $2,000. Right. So since with 2000 it costed me $2,000, I'm going to take a portion of this money, and that's going to be the $1,300. Let's take out 1,300 because that's how much is left on for our deductible. So I'm going to take $1,300 from this 2,000, and it's going to leave me with $700 that are going to be paid by my insurance because I've reached the amount of my deductible. So pretty much my costs incurred were greater than my deductible. So the amount I paid out of pocket, I paid the full $1,400 total medical expenses out of pocket. Whatever is left over, which in this case is $700, is now going to be paid for by my insurance. So what that means is I've only used a little bit of my savings. So now I have savings to pay off my deductibles, and I have a low premium. And at the same time, I have a portion being paid off by my insurance provider. So I hope this helps. If anything, I know it's a lot of information. If anybody needs like some kind of clarification, I'd be more than happy to make that kind of video or to respond to those comments down below. If you like my content, go ahead and like, subscribe, and leave a comment below what you thought of this video and if any other content that you want to see going forward.